Most women aren't abandoned because they're not good enough. They're abandoned because they're too predictable, too available, too present every time a man needs them. And that kills attraction. The more unconditionally you give, the less reason he sees to keep you around. If you've ever wondered how a man can be head over heels one moment and ice cold the next, the answer lies in you. You lost the mystery, the independence, and the emotional pull he was once drawn to. This video lays out 10 skills that make a man obsess over you, even when you're no longer around. And no, this isn't about playing games. It's about how you live, how you choose, and how you shape your self-worth. Stick around till the end, because number 10 will make you rethink every relationship you've ever had. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like if you're new here. It helps me keep bringing you more valuable content. The woman who drives men crazy isn't the most beautiful, the most talented, or the sweetest. She's the one who leaves him wondering after every encounter. She walks away and leaves behind an unanswered question. That's the power of mystery, a kind of magic that logic can't explain, but emotions can't resist. Most women make the same mistake. They think the more they share, the stronger the connection. They spill everything, from what they drank this morning to their deepest anxieties. They text for hours thinking it'll make a man feel special, but in reality, it just makes them an open book, already read, with nothing left to discover, nothing to miss. A man doesn't need to know every thought in your head, and you don't have to explain everything just to be loved. When you keep a piece of your world to yourself, the unspoken plans, the quiet moments you don't explain, you create what most women have lost. The element of unpredictability. That's what keeps you living in his mind longer than your physical presence ever could. Your life should never revolve around anyone, not even the man you love. Live a life so vibrant that even without him you're still whole, brilliant, and unpredictable. When you no longer need attention to feel valuable, that's when you become unforgettable. Mystery isn't a tactic. It's the mark of real confidence. It's how you say to the world, I don't need to lay everything bare to be respected. And when you live like that, you stop worrying about men walking away. Because they'll always come back, chasing what they never fully understood. Nothing makes you more attractive, and nothing makes you fade faster than how you manage your emotions. Most women don't realize they're handing their entire mental state over to a man. Today, he texts, you're happy. Tomorrow he's silent and you're anxious, spiraling. You've turned yourself into his shadow, not a partner, a victim of your own emotional dependence. A truly magnetic woman doesn't let her mood get hijacked by external forces. She knows her emotions are personal assets, not buttons for others to push at will. She doesn't need someone to do something just so she can feel whole, because she's already built that wholeness from within, through purpose, passion, and self-respect. When you stop begging for attention, you start radiating the kind of energy that makes people want to give you their attention. Men are drawn to women who don't flinch at their silence. They're intrigued by the one who can say, I'd love to have you in my life, but I'm fine without you. That's not a challenge, that's the truth. And that truth cuts like a blade, slicing through any illusion of control. Emotional self-mastery isn't coldness, it's composure. It makes you less predictable, less fragile, and far more compelling. And in a man's world, where control is tied to masculinity, the moment you stop letting him control your emotional weather, you become a force he can't easily conquer. And that's when the obsession kicks in. You can be beautiful, you can be smart, but without confidence, you're just a diamond wrapped in newspaper, valuable but unnoticed. Confidence is the first thing a man picks up on, before you even say a word. It's in how you walk, how you hold eye contact, how you say no without apologizing, how you exist without needing anyone to validate your worth. Confidence isn't about thinking you're flawless, it's about knowing you're not flawless and not needing to hide it. You don't force yourself to be someone else. You don't chase someone's standard to feel accepted. You're just you. and you live like that without acting like it needs an explanation. When you're confident, your little flaws become charming instead of annoying. Your imperfections become quirks, not weaknesses. Confidence makes people remember you because you dared to be yourself while the rest of the world tried to be clones. Men might be drawn to looks, but they remember the woman who radiates that quiet, unapologetic pride. The one who knows what she brings to the table and what she doesn't, and owns both. The one who doesn't need anyone's eyes to define her value. The one who doesn't have to say, "I'm amazing," because the way she lives says it for her. Confidence is the silent statement of a woman who doesn't beg to be loved. She chooses, she decides, and that is what makes men want to be chosen. Women often think talking more means connecting better. But in reality, talking too much is often the fastest way to make someone feel done. Done knowing, done understanding, and sometimes done caring. The problem isn't how many words you use, it's your intent behind them. An attractive woman doesn't speak to get a reaction. She speaks because she chooses the right moment to make an impact. Strategic communication means you don't speak all the time. You speak at the right time. When silence is more powerful, you stay silent. And sometimes that hits harder than a monologue. When it's time to speak, you don't unload emotions like a storm. You choose words with weight. You know when to drop a period and when to leave a question mark lingering in a man's head. You don't need to text all day to prove you care. You don't need to reply instantly to show you're available. You're not an emotional call center. You're a woman with a life, with hours you don't show up, and it's that absence that makes him wait, wonder, imagine. That's when his mind starts getting hooked, not because you said too much, but because your words echo. Strategic communication isn't about manipulation, it's about control. When you control your words, you control your influence. That's why women who speak less but speak with depth tend to leave the deepest impressions. They don't talk to fill the silence. They speak to create the kind of silence that demands reflection. And men, no matter how powerful, aren't immune to the pull of a woman who knows how to say just enough. If this video made you think, hit like now. Comment below. How have you applied Stoicism in your life? Stoic success, unbreakable mindset, total control. If you want people to be drawn to you, your life has to be worth living, even without them in it. True attraction isn't about what you do for others. It's about how you live for yourself. When you wake up with drive, sleep with a sense of fulfillment, and don't need anyone to feel valuable, you become a walking magnet. The most potent kind of allure isn't red lips or a body-hugging dress. It's when you talk about a book you're reading, a project you're building, or a journey you're loving. It's when your eyes light up because you've just finished something you're proud of, and the person in front of you can't look away. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you're alive. And it shows. A woman with a life full of experiences is a woman no man can easily replace. Dinners with friends, weekend runs, solo art exhibitions. These aren't fillers, they're texture. They tell a story of a woman who's whole. When your life is already full, you don't need someone to make it meaningful. And ironically, that's when people want in. You don't have to prove anything. Just live a life even you can't walk away from. When your world is interesting on its own, any man who enters it knows one thing. If he screws it up, you'll keep shining, without waiting for anyone. A man doesn't fall for you in a vacuum. He sees you through the eyes of others. When people like you, praise you, want to be around you, your value in his eyes rises, without you having to lift a finger. Because in a man's mind, if that many people admire her, she must have something special. The truth is, human emotions are easily swayed by the environment. You don't need to say you're amazing. Let others do it for you. That could be your friends, coworkers, or even people engaging positively with you online. When he sees photos of you laughing with friends, glowing at events, or being openly celebrated for your wins or character, he stops seeing you as just accessible. You become a discovery, someone worth chasing. Social proof isn't just about reputation. It's about your ecosystem. The people you surround yourself with say a lot about who you are. If you roll with positive, intelligent, grounded people, you naturally radiate high value. But if you hang around drama, whining, and negativity, you're quietly dragging your worth down, whether you realize it or not. Let him see that many people admire you, but that not just anyone gets to step into your world. Let him feel that being close to you is a privilege, not a default setting. When you do that, you stop chasing affection. You make affection come to you. Men don't always voice what makes them feel loved, respected, or safe. But if you're sharp enough to listen between the lines, between the pauses, the actions, the silences, you'll spot the emotional pressure points even he doesn't fully understand. And when you hit those spots, you're not just connecting with his mind, you're reaching the core of the identity he's been protecting his whole life. Every man has something that makes him feel enough. For one guy, it's admiration. For another, it's unwavering trust. Some need peace, a space without judgment. Others need to be seen as men of worth, not just wallets on legs. If you can identify what makes him feel like he matters, you'll create a bond no sex can replicate. This doesn't mean you submit or shapeshift to please him. It means you're sharp enough and strong enough to reach deep without needing control. That's the art of making a man feel, she gets me. No one ever has like that. When a man sees you as the one space where he doesn't have to be on guard, doesn't have to prove himself, doesn't have to armor up, that's when he starts investing real emotion. An emotion that's not easily replaced. When you make him feel something others can't. You don't just grab his attention. You leave a mark no one else can erase. No one respects a person who doesn't set limits. You can be kind, generous, and love deeply, but if you don't know when to say enough, you're handing over control of your life. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. Boundaries are how you tell the world, I know who I am, and here's what I will not allow. In a relationship, boundaries are what keep you from losing yourself. When you fail to set them, you start accepting the small things, disrespectful comments, vague behavior, indifference, broken promises. At first you think, it's not a big deal. But those small things add up to a new normal. And once a man realizes you always bend, he sees no reason to draw any line himself. Setting boundaries doesn't mean yelling or making a scene. Sometimes it's as simple as not replying to texts at midnight, as not showing up just because he suddenly found a free slot, as walking away when you feel emotionally used, as refusing to shrink yourself just to earn attention. A woman with boundaries makes a man slow down and think, I can't treat her like the others. Boundaries don't create distance, they create value. When you know you don't need to please anyone just to be loved, you force others to love you right. And if someone walks away because you stayed true to your worth, let them go. Because a man who can't respect your boundaries will never be capable of loving you properly. Flirting isn't about wearing less or laughing more. Flirting is about making someone feel seen, feel touched, without ever laying a hand. It's the eye contact that lingers just long enough to be noticed. It's when your voice drops half a tone, just enough to make him lean in. It's walking into a room not to be the center of attention, but to leave a hole when you leave. Flirting well means being completely comfortable in your own skin, because anyone trying to be attractive isn't. But a woman who's effortlessly settled in her feminine energy, people want to be close to her without knowing why. That's silent flirtation. It's not an action, it's a presence. Subtle flirting doesn't create pressure. It doesn't ask for anything. It opens a door emotionally and lets him decide if he wants to walk through it. It's not about showing you're available. It's about making him want to earn the right to get closer, to make him initiate, to make him invest. Most importantly, a woman who knows how to flirt right never turns her allure into a weapon. She doesn't manipulate, she doesn't force. She simply knows, I'm captivating enough to make you feel something, but what you do with that feeling is up to you. And it's that soft power, that calm confidence, that makes men lose control. Women are often taught that if you like someone, you should show it, chase it, hold on to him at all costs. But no one tells you this. Sometimes the most powerful way to make a man remember you is to walk away. Not out of spite, not as some emotional game, but with purpose, with dignity, and most of all, with self-respect. Disappearing at the right time means recognizing when your presence is being taken for granted, when your effort is no longer appreciated, when his silence lasts longer than your real conversations. That's when you pull back, not to punish him, but to reclaim yourself, to remind both him and yourself that you're not someone who sticks around no matter how little you're given. The art of disappearing isn't about blocking numbers or building emotional walls. It's silent pride. No cryptic status updates, no long-winded texts. You simply stop showing up. You let your absence speak. And when a man has gotten used to your presence, that absence hits like nothing else can. Graceful disappearance is an unspoken declaration. I have my own life, and I'm pulling my energy from a space that no longer feeds it. It's not dramatic, it's mature. When you love yourself enough to walk away, instead of staying just to prove your worth to someone who stopped seeing it, you level up. And in that silence, the people who still owe you something are left to face themselves. And maybe one day, he'll think of you. Not because you were beautiful, not because you were sweet, but because you were the only one who knew exactly when to leave, and never looked back, just because your name was called. Love doesn't thrive on overexposure. It grows in the value you leave behind when you're not around. When you hold something back, when you live an independent, passionate, full-spectrum life, you make others slow down just to watch. When you don't react emotionally, don't beg for attention, and stand firm in your self-worth, you force people to reevaluate how they treat you. You don't need to win love. You need to become the kind of woman a man doesn't dare lose. And that doesn't come from words or from trying harder. It comes from the energy you radiate when you pull away. This isn't a game. This is a way of life. It's how you place your self-worth above any external validation. And when you live like that, you don't just make men miss you. You make them unable to forget you. Not because you needed them, but because that very lack of need is exactly what makes you irreplaceable. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.